Hey, how are you? How are you doing today? I hope everybody have a nice day. Today we want to talk about how to lead and manage organizational change in terms of cultural respect due to its importance. As you can see, this is our outline. The first one is importance. The second one is definition, and then will be three series, case study, and evaluation. I guess lots of you guys knowing about Zappos, the popular online shoes and clothing company, but you may don't know its success is based on its own happy culture. For Zappos, the culture is not only the internal driver of service and innovation, but also an important part of brand image to maintain and develop better customer relationships. We can notice the focus on organizational culture is at the core of Zappos' success. Therefore, culture plays a really crucial role in an organization. It contributes the commitment, satisfies the need for predictability, increase employee security, internalize organizational values as one's own and reinforce the organization strategy to make employee more naturally committed. Hence, the importance of organizational culture cannot be ignored when managers guide and manage organizational changes. And let me briefly introduce what is the exact definition of the organizational culture. The organizational culture can be defined as the underlying beliefs, assumptions, values, and norms that contribute to the unique social and psychological environment of the business. Specifically, it affects the way employees interact with each other, the context within which knowledge is created and shared, and the resistance they may have towards certain changes.
And when we try to understand organizational culture step by step, there are three tools can be used to help. The first one is theory X, Y, and Z, which is especially useful to spot out the total culture change happening in organizations. The second one is Hofstede culture dimension theory, which identify each culture components specifically. The third one is Shear's culture model. According to this model, organizational culture can be divided into three levels. The first level is artifacts. It's the surface of organizations, and it includes most of visible elements in organizations, such as the dress codes of employees, firm's logo, architectures, structures, and so on. The next level exposed values, including strategies, goals, and philosophies that are expressed in organizations. The third level is basic assumptions. It's the core concept of organizations. These underlying assumptions are deeply embedded in the organizational culture. They are the ultimate sources of values and actions in organizations. Shen's model provides points of reference to create and make cultural change in organizations. To be more specific, culture change is a transforming process, and if managers want to change organizational culture, the first step they need to do is discovering the underlying backgrounds and aspects of organizational culture. Then, they need to conduct cultural interventions to change employees' behaviors, such as devising a new logo, creating a different slogan, or implementing a new rewarding systems to motivate employees. Next part, we'll use a real case to demonstrate how organizations get and manage changes based on Shane's model.
Then the next part is case analysis of Antenna. First, we are going to introduce background information of the company. Antenna is a US health insurance company that makes contracts with health providers, individuals, and corporate customers using healthcare insurance. Then is the cultural change of Antenna. In the times before the change in culture, antenna was known as mother antenna, with a 150-year-old history. Mother antenna was a strategy focusing on cultivating brand loyalty. Once employees have loyalty to organization, antenna can provide employees job security regardless quality of their work. Such strategy ignored the importance of employees' commitment towards their jobs and organization. Also ignored to build customer relationship. During these times, employees were stagnant and not motivated to improve things or change in any ways. Progress, success, and growth were not priority of the organization, and mediocrity was well tolerated. Employees think that their daily work is just to complete their own work and do not have responsibility for any other works. However, the leader of Antenna, Roy and Williams, found that the unsuitable strategy mother antenna directly caused a $280 million loss. In order to make antenna a better performance and revenue, Roy and Williams launched a new strategy named New Antenna. Compared with the culture of mother antenna, the new strategy concentrated more on motivating employees, such as designing challenging tasks and generating new ideas to increase employees' work meaningfulness. In addition, the new antenna focused more on building customer relationships through more interaction with customers and providing evolved customer experiences. After implementing new antennas employees' thinks and perceptions of their responsibility was changed as well. They believed their priority were to help organizations to build ideal customer relationships and enhance organizational performance. Also, employees were willing to show their commitment to their organization.
Referred to Shan's cultural model, Antna is a practical example of organization which successfully changed their organizational culture from the second level of the model exposed values. Notably, exposed values change can also lead to changes of artifacts and assumption level. Exposed values talking more about strategies, goals, and philosophies of an organization, and exposed values can directly shape behaviors and artifacts of an organization. When compared to basic assumptions, exposed values are at higher levels of consciousness and they reflect the members' shared opinion on how things should be. In this case, the Antna changed their strategy from mother Antna to new Antna. In terms of artifacts level, Antna designed a new logo to represent the new strategy to the employees and customers. The new logo changed from capital letter to all lowercase with brighter color and soft letter forms in order to show approachable and closeness to customers. Meanwhile, as the connected letter A and E represents the closer employee relationship and client relationship. Further, the basic assumption level of Antna directly influenced by the changed exposed value. A basic assumption can be defined as tacit suppositions like how employees perceive and think their responsibilities and commitments. Before the change of Antna's culture, employees were risk-averse and unwilling to change. But after changing, employees are more motivated and committed to their organization, and they perceive their responsibilities or improving organizational performance and building customer relationships. In general, the changed exposed value of Antna directly influenced the change of Antna's artifacts and also led employees to think and perceive their responsibilities differently. This is why Antna chose to change its organizational value.
In this part, I'm first going to evaluate the pros and cons of Shan's model. Shan's model can be used to sensitize an organization about concepts of organizational culture. This model provided both a clear definition of organizational culture and distinguishable levels of culture that should be considered. Meanwhile, Shan's model can be easily used to ensure exploration of core constructs associated with organizational culture. However, some researchers point out that Shan's model is too vague and general. It includes almost everything that happens in the organization, from dress codes to the unspoken rules of an organization. Shin's model is too wide, so loses its power. Meanwhile, it's difficult to understand the difference between exposed value and basic assumptions, because sometimes exposed values also can be regarded as basic assumptions. Also, Shin's model shows the static components of organizational culture, whereas it ignores the dynamic process of establishing culture in organizations. Companies need to continuously evolve organizational culture with a high-speed changing external environment. Moreover, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of organizational cultural change. In modern society, more organizations have begun to concentrate on changing their organizational culture in order to effectively respond to the changing external environment, since a suitable and strong organizational culture can directly influence the success of the company. More importantly, changing organizational culture can bring several benefits. First, changing organizational culture can improve business performance, like increasing sales and profits, improving quality of customer service. As for Aetna, changed culture help the company improve its financial performance and customer relationships. Secondly, changing organizational culture is helpful for an organization to make quick response to significant change, such as change of ownership, like merge, change of legal or economic environment, and change of leadership. Thirdly, changing culture of an organization is too dedicated to enhance employee motivation and engagement, and thus enhance the performance of employees and make them become more enthusiastic. As for Aetna, it enhanced employee engagement and motivation while changing core strategies within the organization. However, changing organization's culture is one of the most difficult challenges. That's because an organization's culture comprises an interlocking set of goals, roles, processes, values, communication practices, attitudes, and assumptions. I'm going to explain why changing culture is difficult for an organization. First, the culture of an organization is practically its DNA. Culture determines how everything else in the organization unfolds. As Peter Drucker said, culture is strategy for breakfast. Second, an organization's culture reflects its deepest values and beliefs. Trying to change it can call into question everything the organization holds dear, often without that conscious intention. Finally, the culture of an organization is embedded in the entire organizational system. Each little change affects every layer of that system. Indeed, changing culture can bring benefits for organizations, but the process of changing may challenge the company in different ways. If an organization wants to be successful in changing its culture, it should consider the significance of leadership. By setting the mission of an organization and empowering employees to achieve that mission, leadership builds the foundation of company culture and plays an important role in changing it when it needs to be changed. As mentioned above, leaders of Aetna determine whether to change the organizational culture and how to make change. Further, leadership decides whether or not what your company believes, what it says, and what employees see align. And it's up to leaders to implement different strategies that match the organizational culture change you are trying to make. So, what do you think about it?